There is three things that we must do if we want to live a long life and live eternally after death. The most dangerous thing is death. We know that because it is not just dangerous because we lose someone or that we transition, but it is dangerous because it will define the next life, how you live eternally. So there are three things I'm going to talk about tonight that are very important for us to live well and to transition to the next stage and live happily ever after. The human body is composed of three most important things. Those three things are very important to understand in order for us to live well. The very first thing is the body. The body, the soul. In philosophy, we say the will. And the spirit, in philosophy, we call the intellect. We must know how to nourish those three things in order for us to live well. The very first thing is the body. I'm not going to talk about how to eat and how to conserve your body because you already hear so much about it from doctors and others. But I'm going to talk about the nourishment of the body in a very spiritual way, in a very different way that you probably have not understood or heard before. God saved the world by eating. God saved the world by eating. I'm going to explain that to you right now. What does it mean? It's very important what you put in your body. You become what you put in your body. Very important to understand. Before you understand that, you must understand what we call typology. Typology is what I call the hidden language of the Bible. The hidden language of the Bible. A lot of people don't know this. Typology means that the New Testament is hidden in the Old Testament, and the Old Testament revealed itself in the New Testament. How does it work? Paul talks about it. He says, Jesus is the new Adam. I'm going to explain this to you. Jesus is the new Adam. Jesus is the new Moses. Jesus is the new King Solomon. How do we understand typology? This is how the Bible is interpreted, right? I'm going to give the example of Moses. When Moses was born, the Pharaoh asked to kill babies from 0 to 2 years old. Why? Because the Israel was multiplying themselves too much. So what did they do with Moses? They took Moses, put him in a basket, they put him in water, and they sent him on the side of Egypt, because at the time when the Israel was living, this was like the side of Israel, but they sent him on the side of Egypt, although all of that was Egypt. And then so he landed to the palace of the Pharaoh, and the daughter took him and called him Moses, meaning saved by water. You know that story. It's very similar. When Jesus Christ was born, at the age of 0 to 2 years old, is when the King Herod asked to kill baby from 0 to 2 years old. What happened to Jesus? They sent him to Egypt. Jesus means the Savior. The first public miracle of Moses was to turn water into blood. The first public miracle of Jesus was to turn water into wine. Later on, he will turn it into blood. When Moses saved the people of Israel, he goes through the water, gets into the desert, and then fasts for 40 nights and 40 days. When Jesus wants to begin his ministry, he goes through the same water where Moses went. Get baptized, because what Moses was doing with the people of Israel was baptism. And then goes into the desert, and then what? He fasted for 40 nights and 40 days, just like Moses. That's how the Bible works. Right? That's not it. When Moses is fasting, the people of Israel are being tempted. And when Moses comes back, he gives them the same advice. He says, hey, look, you only have one God. You cannot tempt one God, and you cannot just live by food alone. When Jesus is tempted in the desert for 40 nights and 40 days, they tell him the same thing. The devil tried to tempt him. He responds the same way that Moses was responding to the people of Israel. He said, you only have one God. You cannot tempt God. And you cannot live by bread alone. When Moses comes back, he named 12 judges to judge the 12 tribes of Israel. When Jesus comes back, what does he do? He gets 12 disciples. And he tell them, you will judge the 12 tribes of Israel. When Moses wants to go and talk to God, he takes 3 with him: Joshua, and Aaron. When Jesus wants to go talk to God, what does he do? He takes 3 with him: Peter, John, and James. When Moses comes back, he brings the 10 commandments. When Jesus comes back, he brings the beatitude. It's not enough. When Moses thinks he still needs more leaders, he takes 80 people. He named 80 people to be leaders. Jesus come back, he want to send people to preach. He sent and named 82. You see the similarity. That's what they call typology. I'm pretty sure you've been reading the Bible. You never read the Bible like that before. You never knew that when you see something in the Old Testament, you have to confirm it in the New Testament before you say. So now let's talk about eating. I say God saved the people of Israel by eating. Now you will understand what I'm going to say now. There were 10 plagues. God sent Moses to deliver the people of Israel. First, he sent what? He turned water into blood. The Pharaoh didn't want to do it. He sent crickets, a whole lot of things he didn't. But the 10th plague was what? He told Moses, he said, now the Pharaoh will go. What will happen? The people of Israel must take a lamb, right? A blemished lamb. Blemished lamb in the New Testament represent Jesus, who has no sin. They will kill the lamb, but they will not break his bone. That's why they didn't break the bones of Jesus on the cross. They only pierced his side. They will take the blood and put it on the doorpost. What does the doorpost represent? The cross, the blood of Jesus Christ on the cross. They will eat the lamb, and then they will get ready to go. What was the last thing Jesus Christ did before he gets crucified? The Last Supper. Take this, my body, eat, drink my blood. That is why. That is how God saved the people of Israel, by eating. If you did not obey the instruction they were giving the people of Israel, you will not be saved. What was happening is that the angel of death will come, and when he comes, he will kill the firstborn of every family of the Egyptians. Why the first? In African tradition, they always bless the first child. You will notice something in the Bible. A lot of people don't notice this, but God does not work with the first child. The first child represents Adam, who failed God. Jesus is the second child. That is why God will kill the first child. Now, if you don't believe me, let me show you again. The 2 children of Adam. The first one is Cain. The second one is Abel. Who satisfied God the most? You already know. It was Abel, the younger one. That's not it. Abraham. The first child is Ishmael. The second child is Isaac. Who is the one that God chose to use? Is Isaac, the second one. The 2 children of Isaac, the first one was Esau. The next one was Jacob. Who got the blessing of Isaac? Jacob, the second child. The children of Jacob, the first one is Judah. The 11 is Joseph. Joseph is the one who satisfies God. Even the children of Joseph, Ephraim and Manasseh. Now you know, when you bless your children, don't just bless the firstborn. God works with anyone. He doesn't just work with firstborn. You see, that's not me, it's the Bible. So that's what was happening. So when you ate, you were ready to run and be saved. You had to eat. If you didn't eat, you wouldn't be saved. And water, the importance of water. Water is very important because when they were leaving, they got to water. Water is the only thing that we don't know when the creation started. The very first verse in the Bible says, the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters. It doesn't tell us when water started. That's why water is very important in your life. Water is a source of life because we were born from water. God had to part the water to save the people of Israel. God had to part the water to create earth, to create human beings. That's why when the baby is in your stomach, you know, the women, they say water broke because the baby is kept alive by water. I went to Cameroon. They took me to a woman, And for 2 years, she was going to the doctor and they couldn't see what was going on with her. She came back, she said, they say I have HIV, because in Cameroon, when they don't know what's going on with you, they say you have HIV. 2 years, they couldn't see anything. So I told her, I said, don't worry, I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take 6 bottles of water, Supermont, you guys know, the big one. 2 like that, take 9 days. I want you to finish 1 per day. This woman was about 47 years old. By the time she got to the 4th day, she went to the doctor, they say she has tuberculosis. They couldn't see what she had for 2 years. What is it the water did? Water only cleaned her. That's what food do. When you don't drink water, you're putting yourself in danger. A lot of people are dying because of that. Water, by the time she got to the 6th day, that woman was running up the stairs. And she asked me, what did you do? I say, all I did was to give you water. That's all you needed. You must understand, if you want to stay alive, you want to clean yourself, that's what it is, water. So I talked to you about how God saved. So you must know what to eat, when to eat, and how to eat. Like I said, I'm not going to go into the details of that. That is to tell you, when you know how to do that, now you know how to nourish your body. Second thing, how to nourish your soul. The element of the soul is your emotions, mental state. Animals don't have spirit, so we know they have emotion. They only have soul and a body. How do I nourish my soul so that I don't die by cardiac arrest, high blood pressure, and things like that? You must know to get upset is a natural thing, but you must know how to control your emotion, when to get upset, how to get upset, and things like that. You must know those things. When you are in a relationship and you break up from that relationship, the emotions that comes after that, the first thing you do, you must get rid of everything that reminds you of that person very fast. If you have to buy a new car, buy a new car. If you have to just change the paint in your house, do it. If you have to move. Do that. Cameroon, your ex means your ex. Let me repeat that. Your ex means your ex. Because what people do now is that because it's your ex, you think it's very comfortable for you to constantly go have sex with her, come back, go have sex with her, come back. Look, this does not work for your emotion. It doesn't help. It ends up pretty bad. When you say you want to leave someone, leave the person. Move on so that you can heal your emotions, the problem you're going through. I know a friend of mine, I was working in Washington, D.C. in the Justice Department. I was working for the Office of Immigration, and a friend of mine came to see me. He wasn't a friend of mine, they just directed him to me. He said, I want you to help me deport someone. I said, that's not what I do. This is the DHS. We do represent the DHS, but I can direct you to some. What is the problem? So he started telling me this story. He said, he came into the U.S., he married a woman from Cameroon, brought her into the U.S. because men think every single time they bring a woman from back home, they can just do whatever they want with her. They think that's their, oh yeah, I brought you to America, so I own you. So what he did is that he brought the woman. At the time, we used to have phone. They used to have the phone that you have at home. This was in the years 2003, 2004. And he brought the woman, and what he does is that every day he kept calling the woman. He already gave her pregnancy, because that's the first thing you do. When you bring a woman from Cameroon, the first thing is to give her pregnancy. That way she stays home. That is how we do it. She's not your slave just because you brought her from there. So the guy brings her, and what he does is that he calls her every day to try to find out what she's doing. So one day he calls her, and she doesn't answer. He comes back from work early that day just because of that. Now keep in mind, he's the only one who's working. Working is healthy. It's not just for money. God worked for 6 days. Working is healthy. You just don't do it for money. It helps your health as well. So don't just allow people to work because it's healthy. So he comes back from home, and then he talks to her, find out that she said, well, you keep calling me every day, I had to go take it. He slaps her, start beating her. The police ended up showing up. He ended up spending nights in jail. She asked for a divorce. Now he has to pay for alimony support, child support, give her the house and everything. And so the thing that brings him to me is because he goes to pick up his child sometimes for visitation, and he see the guy who is there open the door with no shirt on. He thinks this is the guy who's manipulating my wife now, and he hits his heart. He's like, oh, Jesus. So you see how, so for him, he's already separated from her, but to think that there's somebody, the woman I brought from back home, she has my house, this guy does not work, he doesn't have papers, nothing. He's the master of my house that I'm paying, and he is doing what to my, hey, Jesus. So this guy was constantly going to the hospital, and he wanted me to help him deport the guy. And I told him, I said, that's not what I do, but I can direct you to there. But that comes to tell you, learn to control your emotion. Learn to do so that you wouldn't end up dying of starvation of the soul. The third thing is the spirit. Spirit. The spirit. How do I nourish my spirit so that I can live a long life? The 10 Commandments. I talked to you about typologies just now. You confirm the 10 Commandments. It is in the Old Testament, so you confirm it in the New Testament. Do we still apply the 10 Commandments in the New Testament? Yes. They asked Jesus Christ to say, what is the most important commandment? He said, love God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your body. That is the first commandment. You will have only one God. You will not take the name of God in vain. And you will have keep the day of God. That's the first 3 commandments. Love God with all your heart, with all your soul. And then he said, love one another as you would yourself. That is the 7th commandment combined together. Love one another as you would yourself. So the 10 commandments still apply. It is how you treat other people. If you mistreat people, you are digging your own grave. You're shooting yourself straight in the heart. People who mistreat their wives, for example. That's an example there. The 4th commandment says, you will honor your father and mother. Now, this one is so delicate. It didn't come from me. Let me just start by saying that. It doesn't come from me. A man will leave his father and his mother and will join with his wife. Men who take your mother, put on top of your wife, that the Bible does not support that. It doesn't come from me. Okay? You cannot put your mother on top of your wife. No, she becomes the mother. Who? My mother? Look. You can still go and live with your mother instead of maltreating the women. Now, you as a man, you love your mother so much, you love your daughter so much, but you maltreat your wife. How does that work? A respectful mother, when she gets to her daughter-in-law's house, she respects and understands that she is the head. That is how it works. It is not me. It is the Bible. Don't crucify me. I know how it works in Africa. I don't care about what Africa say. I study theology. That's what I'm talking about here. Only Christianity. That's it. Nothing else. Right? A man, a Nigerian guy who married a Liberian woman, he brought his mother here, and the mother became the head of the household. Even the food that the woman was cooking to her husband, he no longer likes it. He wants mommy to cook the food for him. So this started going on. The woman is looking at him like, what's going on? This is what my husband usually eats and all of that. Oh, no, this is how I treat my son. So the battle always starts, between the two. And the woman was calm. The husband will come now early from work because mama is at home. When nighttime came, the woman then saw this for like 1 week, 2 weeks. She just stayed quiet. She said, you know what, just take over the house. At night, the guy comes and try to put his hand on the woman. She removed the hand and said, go sleep with your mother. You already made her the head of the household. The men say, abomination. Hey, how can you say something like that? The women say, when you began to eat her food and tell me that she's all of that, I didn't say abomination. When you put her above me, I didn't say abomination. Now the last thing for you to do is to sleep with her because you put her above me. It is not me, it's the Bible. Your wife becomes your first. Treat her well. Some people beat you. How do you do it? You fight a woman, and then you go sleep. You even snore. You eat her food. If me, I were to slap my wife, just me by myself, if she stay quiet and look at me, I'm just going to put my knee on the floor. I don't know. This hand has been shaking for a while. Please forgive me. I will not sleep at night that day. She can kill me into sleep. I won't eat her food until I'm sure she has forgiven me. How do you fight people that cook you food? How do you fight people you sleep with? That is putting your own life at risk. There was a man who got married, and he fought his wife. And as he fought his wife, the wife was a doctor, and she kept those things in her heart. And she began to slowly finish him. I don't know what she took from the hospital, and she was putting it in his food. Slowly, slowly, because he kept beating her slowly. One day he woke up, the hands are just shaking. And he couldn't slap her again, because the hand would just go. And then he lost the nerves of his body, and he couldn't move again. And the wife said, slap me again. You have been beating me. That is why I'm saying that to nourish your spirit, and this is where I'm going to finish, to nourish your spirit, you have to make sure you treat others well. Karma exists. If you maltreat someone today and an accident happened to you, it is because you maltreated someone somewhere. That's karma. Karma usually doesn't tell you when it comes. It's going to come anyway. You maltreat the child of someone. Your child is outside. An accident happened to him. Things don't just happen. Ask yourself, what did I do in the past? If a bottle falls from a table, nobody will say it just fell. Somebody will say either somebody pushed it or something happened. That is how life is. Everything that happens for a reason. You must be disciplined. You must treat other people well. And you must treat yourself well. Treat yourself well doesn't mean drink a lot of alcohol or whatever. I just told you what you need to do with your body now. It is important if you want to live a long life, because what God gives is not discriminatory. The air that you breathe comes from God, and you never heard that it stopped a day, because we will all die if it were to stop. But whatever human beings give, it will never be for everyone. It will always be some type of discrimination, not even when they don't do it in purpose. That's why you have poor people and rich people. God doesn't give money. Many people ask money to God. He doesn't give money because he didn't invent money. But God gives talent. That's why everybody has talent. God does not discriminate. He gives to everyone. What God gives is eternal. It's to everyone. There's no discrimination. That's why I'm going to finish by saying that God did not give us death. Death came from human beings. God gave us life. That's why everybody's born the same way. We're all being born from a woman. Even Jesus Christ was born from a woman. Everybody's born the same way. Everybody's born a baby. Nobody's born already grown. But everybody does not die the same way. There are those who die young. There are those who die old. That's because we are the cause of our own death. Those who die old know how to live. Know how to live. And those who die young made a mistake somewhere, or are a victim of their parents' mistake.